Okay, we're back to it, and I've sorted a few things out. Hopefully my head won't obscure any code this time. And also, let's have a little recap of what happened last time. So with Katie Langeman, we managed to create the blink text element. And I've just been adding a little bit of documentation, and we've published this to NPM today. And then we also worked on the marquee text element, and that was a doozy. Wow, that was tougher than I thought it would be. But here we are. It's published. It's published on NPM. So with that said, let's just get straight into it and pick the next component. We've got 22 more to go. I don't think we're going to do them all, but we'll try. Let's see. And spoiler alert. Okay. Okay, cool. So I guess we'll just get started. Let's go into 24 web components. Oops, and there are R3. So the word slot machine is this one, which I haven't actually published yet. I will soon though. So the first thing we're going to do, we need to clone this template, use this template, and we're going to create a new repository using this template. This is going to go in 24 web components, and it was spoiler alert. Let's make this public. Create. And let's clone it. Spoiler alert. Oh, I've already messed up because I actually need this to be element. There we go. Also, whilst we're in settings, if we've got a minute, I'll set up pages. So we set up pages on the other ones. We just deploy from the main branch. And that way we get the README as documentation as well. We'll get rid of that for now. Okay, cool. So with it set up, we can go into the spoiler alert folder. We can run npm install. Hopefully the audio is okay. I took a lesson, and I have improved my audio somewhat as well. So hopefully it's a bit better. Let's go into, so I'm going to run npm start, but I'm going to run npm start in a different window because you all don't need to see a server log. But what you will see is it's opened up, and we've got the wave. So we want to move the custom element. We want to move that into spoiler alert element, which breaks the preview. And so we're going to go to examples, and we're going to change this to spoiler alert element. And then this, we're also going to change the tag name to spoiler alert. And then we also need to do that in the source spoiler alert element. And so this says custom element, which is no good. We want spoiler alert element. Yes, that's right. And same here. So this becomes spoiler alert. This becomes spoiler alert. Oh, we need to change all instances of custom element to be spoiler alert element, like that. And we're back to wave. Right, cool. There's another thing as well that I missed out on the other day, but I fixed later on, which is that we need to change this to spoiler alert element, and then this custom element string. All over the place. This needs to change to spoiler alert element. This needs to change to spoiler alert. There's a lot of repetition here, but whatever. these need to be capitalized. So I'm going to use G Shift U I quotes, and that's a quick way to capitalize them in Vim. Cool. I think that's everything. So now let's actually get to coding this. What is this going to do? Well, it's going to mask text. That was a terrible spelling of text. I don't know where I got that from. Mask text until the user interacts with it. And so we're going to have a spoiler alert tag hidden text. That's what we want. So let's go to our index HTML and we can say hidden text here. And how are we going to do this? So I think what we want to do, we're going to use the shadow DOM again, I think. So we'll make a render root. Render root new, nope, not new, this attach shadow. Shadow, it needs a mode, needs either open or closed. We'll make this one open. I don't see much of a point in closed shadow roots ever. I guess they're useful for if you want to integrate this into a site that you don't have control of. But I think for the most case that doesn't matter. So our render root, we need to set the inner HTML. So yesterday when we were doing this, we had the backticks, and unfortunately it's not syntax highlighting in my editor, but I think it might if I said const HTML equals string.raw, and then I can add that as a tick here. Damn, still not syntax highlighting. Maybe it is. Let's find out with a style tag. Yeah, it's syntax highlighting, just not super well. Okay, cool. So the host element, I guess we just want to like background black, opacity, or no, text. Is there a way you can set the text opacity? MDN text opacity. Have I mentioned I'm very rusty at CSS? The opacity applies to the whole element, right? We want to find, I guess I just set the text to black as well. Or in fact, what I could do is say slotted, star, display none. Okay, cool. So, wait, what? Why is this? This should not be. Oh, why is it not reflecting here? Oh, it is reflecting. But it's display none. Did I do something wrong? Maybe the slot element, because it isn't an element, right? It's a text node. Okay, so now we have display none, but we've lost the host element. Maybe if I wrap this in a div or a span. Let's make it a span. Let's make the span display none. Oh, because it's losing its width, I guess is the problem. So visibility hidden might do the job. Yeah, that did the job. We don't need this display block then. Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, so yeah, display none collapses the width. Again, super rusty at CSS. It is not my forte. It turns out CSS is a real programming language and it is very difficult to be good at, despite what some trolls on the internet might tell you. So we're getting an error here. This is the lint rules that we have. ESLint plugin, disable next line, GitHub, no inner HTML. So we have this lint rule, and it disables, it doesn't disable, it warns against using inner HTML because it is a security hazard. Anything that you put in here, if you put user input in there, that could be like script injection attack, and so we just have a warning for that in the default lint config. But of course this is all string literal, so we should allow this. There is I think I'm going to work on this rule and maybe submit a patch that says if it's a string literal then it doesn't matter. We'll see. Cool. So we've got a black piece of text, or I guess there's no text rather. What we want to do, I think, is when this element is clicked, we want to show it. So let's try doing that. So we're in the connected callback. We can say this.addEventListener, click, and we'll pass in this. This is a handy trick if you've never seen it before. This is really cool. So you can pass in a function like this into addEventListener, and the function will get called. You can have a method on a class like handleEvent. If I did this.handleEvent, what's going to happen here is this is going to lose the this context because this gets passed as a function directly. So we won't have access to this here because this is getting like lifted out. The function itself is getting lifted out, and so we lose the this context. So the way around that is to do this. And you have to pass in all the arguments. So you can do that. There's another trick though. This.addEventListener actually takes an object here, and the object needs to have an interface. So it's like an event listener object. It needs to have a handleEvent method, which looks like this. And so if you have an object that has this kind of signature with a handleEvent, well-named method handleEvent, you can pass that directly into this addEventListener. So like this. So because I have a handleEvent method, if I pass in this, it's just going to work. What is also nice about this is, so another thing about this is that we have the connected callback. There's a disconnected callback. Hey Nojo. So the disconnected callback is typically where you would remove this event listener. This will work as well. However, we don't need this in this case because two reasons. One, I'm pretty sure that when this object is freed, the event listener is automatically removed. But also because we're attaching to this object, it almost has like this internal set of event listeners, and so when this object is freed, which will happen around the same time as the disconnected callback, this event listener will get removed anyway. So I think we can safely remove this. We don't actually need that, and we can just rely on it to be garbage collected. All right, so in our handle event, I guess the easy way to do this is just with well, we could just change the styles. We could also use custom states. I think that might be fun to use some custom states. So for custom states, we need some element internals. So we're going to get some element internals, and we're going to call this .attach internals. We can only call this once, and so we need to keep a reference. We can't just keep calling this, but we're going to keep a private reference of this. I need to remember the syntax now. Custom element states. This is not the right page. Custom state set. This is the right page. Right, so it's the dot states property. Whoops. So we can say states add spoiled. And then when we click this, we should be able to, we've been caught because Firefox doesn't support custom state set. Well, we could either load this in Chrome, or I think maybe the most sensible thing is to is to not use this feature. We could polyfill it. There is a polyfill. Do I want to polyfill it? I don't think so. I think I'm going to not use this feature. Instead, let's just add a property called spoiled. So we're going to have, I like to make my properties both on the class and as an attribute. So it's spoiled. We're going to get the attribute spoiled. Whoops. Let's return this.has attribute, and that'll be a boolean. And so when we set spoiled, let's make sure this is a boolean here. When we set spoiled, we're going to say value boolean, and then we can say this.toggle attribute spoiled value. And so if this is true, this will set it. If this is false, this will remove the attribute. And so both of these will work in tandem really nicely. Then we can say this.spoiled equals true here. That's pretty cool. Now what we need to do, I'll get rid of this as well whilst we're at it. We need to wire up this spoiled attribute. So we need a static observed attributes. We're going to observe the spoiled attribute. You might think this is a lot of indirection because we have a getter and a setter, and we're calling that, which is really just going to toggle the attribute. And then we're observing if the attribute changes, and then we're going to have an attribute change callback, which feels like this is all a lot of code to really just set some internal state. But this is really useful because we're kind of making this public state now. So it's not just the element itself that can control the state of whether or not something is spoiled. All of this sets it up to be a fully public API, which I think is really nice. Private APIs, it's like you can't kind of, I think a lot of the time you can't really manage every, what am I trying to say? I think it's impossible to cover every corner case, and there might be cases where, like, I don't know, for this example, for this element, you might want to uncover all spoilers all at the same time, and so you might want to iterate through them all and set them all to spoiled all at once with a button somewhere on the page. So I think there's like eventualities that can arise that mean that having a private API can inhibit some of the flexibility of the component, and having a public API, you know, makes breaking changes harder. But this is probably not a component that's going to get a ton of use. So anyway, we're going to make an attribute change callback, and hopefully we know the signature of this by now. You get a name. In this case, we know that the name is just spoiled. We get a null value first, and that is either null or a string, and we get a new value which is null or a string. If the I've just realized actually we don't need to do any logic here. Let's keep that there, but we should be able to say not spoiled here if I can get my keyboard to work. Huh. Now why isn't that working? See, that should work, but this is not spoiled. Well, it might help if I spell that bit right, but it's not spoiled. So if we check matches, not spoiled is true. Might need host not, yes, thank you, Nojo, that's a very good point. I do need parentheses. Ta-da. Right, okay, so if we click this, check it out, it works. We have a spoiler. Interestingly, it selects it. I don't know why it selects it. We could cancel the selection. I guess we could prevent default on the click. Let's try that. Event.prevent default. No, that didn't work. Huh. Maybe also change the highlight color, because it might spoil it if you highlight it. Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily the issue, because if I disable this line, we've got visibility hidden on this, so you can't actually select it. There's nothing to select. If I add some text around here, it's all good. Oh yeah, maybe some breaks might help here. Or a P. Oh, how do I even type? Right, okay. That's what I wanted. And a P here. Yeah, so when it selects, yeah, you can't see the selection, but for some reason it decides to select it. That's really peculiar. If I click here, it's not doing that. Isn't that weird? So one thing we could try is pointer events click-throughs. They still work. Again, my CSS is probably about 10 years out of date. Is it pointer events? Oh, is it pointer events none? Well, that just disables the click. Doesn't do that in Chrome? Interesting. Interesting. Ah, there is a way that you can get the selection API. I forget what it is. I've done it before in this repository. And so this is a very old piece of code that we've got on GitHub. And this lets you, this manually, if you click quote in a comment on a comment box in GitHub. Let me find an issue. We can have a look. So it's used here in this kind of thing. If this loads, there we go. So when you select an area like this, if I push R, you can see we get this in the reply. And if you click here and click quote reply, you get the entire reply here. This is driven by this quote selection feature. Don't worry about my janky comment box, by the way, that's just an extension. Now this is a really arcane bit of JavaScript because it uses a pretty old API, which is this window get selection. And it tries to wrap it to make it look nice. But yeah, you can call removal ranges. So I'm wondering if we just do that. So window.getSelection removal ranges. This seems like maybe overkill for this. It works. I think I'm going to leave it at that then. Let's have a try, because this is this API throws a lot of errors. So yeah, we don't want our thing to error. We'll also have get selection. Oh, and also this is possibly null, so let's add a question dot. Okay, cool. So we've got an empty block. Empty block. This should stop the lint error. Or yeah. Okay, interesting. This needs to be typed as an event. And yeah, we weren't doing anything with this method. I think this is one down, right? Should we call this one done? This was an interesting one. I don't know if there's anything more. I mean, we could get fancy with the CSS here maybe, but we all know how that goes, right? We don't want to do that. Yeah, I'm going to call this one done. So I would say I was co-working with someone, but sadly no one else is on the stream today sharing the spotlight, so it's just little old me. Initial implementation. I think I'll push this up. Cool. That's that one done. Let's see. What's really nice about cloning this custom element boilerplate is we've got tests, but it also has a pretty decent lightweight pages set up. So I can show you one of these. Like this is the marquee text one, and it renders the README using the default GitHub pages. I don't know what theme this is, but yeah. And then you can go into examples. Oh, this doesn't work. I know why this doesn't work. Yeah, one unfortunate thing about this is if we go to the index. So for development, we just call import, which works with the dev server because it's importing this local TS file. But of course, a TS file .ts is part of a video playlist format. I don't know if you can see this. Let me zoom in a bit. So TS is like a video format, and it gets blocked. And of course, it wouldn't work even if it was JavaScript. So we have this to uncomment out. Well, that's not how you comment stuff. Actually, that is a legal comment in JavaScript, isn't it? This is valid comment syntax for JavaScript. This bit isn't, but it's part of the comment anyway. The weird and wonderful world of JavaScript grammar. So yeah, we need to do this. I'll need to change this, but that's for another day. I'll figure that out later. Let's get on to the next one. So I need to spin up the word machine again. Where are we? Oh, one moment, please. Oops. Okay, we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, that's the wrong. Let's get rid of these. That's not can I use. I don't know why I ended up there. Okay, cool. Hello from the Lit Discord. Hello. We're gonna build typing test. Have you all done typing tests before? What's the one that everyone uses? Maven. That was the one from the 90s that I did. Okay, let's make typing test. Okay, so we're gonna take the custom element boilerplate, create a new repository. What have we got? Half hour to do this? There's not a chance this is going to happen, but we had Mavis Beacon teaches typing. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one that I think everyone had that, right? I don't even know who Mavis Beacon was. Was that a real person? Quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. Well, that's going to be the example. Test your typing. Oh, I definitely need this. Okay, cool. Create repository. Git clone. Typing. I've done it again. This needs to be typing test element. Let's go rename it. Oh, that was a funny redirect. There we go. Right, typing test element. Rename. Typing test. She lived in the computer. Hey, Chris. I don't remember the program, just the keyboard condom? What was the keyboard condom? I don't remember the keyboard condom. I remember the program. Keyboard condom. That's a new one for me. Right. We're gonna move the source. This is typing test. Typing test. We need to go into examples. We need to go into typing test element. We need to go into test. Okay, so this is typing test. And we want to have this phrase. I'm just going to copy and paste it straight from you. Like that. There we go. Quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. We're going to figure that out. And this is typing test element. Test element. Okay, cool. Oh, I need to run an npmi. Also, I need to start this up, don't I? Typing test. npm start. I absolutely love web dev server and the testing utility as well. They're so good. The keyboard condom hit the keys? I really don't know about that now. Like, was it a physical thing that covered your keyboard? Is that what it was? Maybe I didn't get the accessory pack. Maybe I missed out on that. It was orange and keyboard shaped. I really don't remember that. Okay, typing test. This is typing test. Wait, yes. So this is typing test. Great, okay. We got some type errors. What are the type errors? What? This isn't typing test, this is custom elements. I got too eager with my find and replace. Cool, okay. And then we need to do more here. So this is typing test element. This is typing test, typing test, typing test, typing test. And then these need to be... Oh my god, I can't type. Okay, GUI apostrophe. Nope, still no. GUI apostrophe. Vim is really powerful if you are someone who can actually use a keyboard. For me, it is really punishingly bad because I make a typo and I lose like a 15 character keyboard macro thing. Right, this is typing test. Okay, we've done all the boilerplate. Let's actually start developing a component. I think we're going to use the shadow DOM again here because we want to do stuff, right? So we're going to say not new, this.attach shadow mode open. Of course, this is, if we were using lit, this happens automatically, right? I'm sure some lit fans can do some devrel in the comments. But yeah, this is really handy to have a something. I mean, you could use this.shadow root, but I kind of like having this kind of private variable, especially because you can make this consistent. So if you don't want to use the shadow DOM, you can just reference this, and then this will always be kind of consistent among the elements. I think lit does something very similar to this. But yeah, we're doing the bare components. We're just no frameworks or libraries. As long as it's mode open, it will always define this .shadow root. Oh, interesting. Will it be an input overlaid on top of the text element? Is it supposed to be like type racer? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, we'll find out. I'm gonna open up the... What did we just work on? Spoiler alert. Source. Spoiler alert element. I'm just gonna yeet this whole thing into here. That didn't do what I wanted. Wait a second. YIF. Yeah, here we go. Right. Didn't know you could use this when setting class properties. And yeah, exactly, yeah. This effectively is the same as constructor. Whoops. Like this. And of course you need this. This is the same thing. In TypeScript, this will actually compile down to something very similar. It depends on whether or not you assign and get, because it does some stuff with weak maps to render out this private field. But actually, I think the engines use object define property, and then that gets kind of weird because you can't define private properties in that way. But it's effectively this. So you can use all the same stuff that you would expect to use inside of a constructor into here. But I think that there's some trickiness around evaluation order. Like I don't think you could say other equals this dot render root here. Render 2 again. I don't think this works because I think either the evaluation order is not guaranteed. Oh no, you're saying you think you can? Maybe you can. Newest version of TS will use class fields by default rather than compiling down to the constructor. Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, I think we still, at GitHub, we still transpile class fields if they're private, because that's not particularly well supported in older versions of Safari. But we have been, but it adds quite a lot of code for the transpiled step, because there's like weak maps and everything, and there's a performance penalty there as well with weak maps. Okay, right, we're going to do a typing test. Where has all of this gone? Is it because of this? Is this throwing an error? I should bring up the dev tools as well. HTML is not defined as well. Oh yes, we had a little trick for syntax highlighting. So we say const HTML equals string.raw, and then you can use a template tag, but like you get syntax highlighting. No, Liam, no, you're saying you're not a fan of the hashtag for private props. I am not either. We had huge discussions in TC39 about the hashtag. I didn't think it was particularly good. I tried to block it, but unfortunately the private keyword, there was some compatibility issues with the private keyword. Yeah, I think Chris is right. You kind of get used to it after a while. Underscore for backwards compatibility, yeah, that wouldn't have worked at all. It was pretty much, it had to be some kind of sigil. It couldn't be, we looked at private as the keyword, but there were the reasons why that couldn't work, and I forget which they are. But you could look at the notes if you're that interested. There's a TC39 notes repo, I think. Yeah, this one. This has like all the gory details about every discussion. Oh yeah, the sunglasses smiley. It should be. You're right. You're right, Liebner. It should be. It should be the sunglasses smiley. Oh, now I've lost my. There we go. We're back. We're back. Okay. So what's going to happen here? I think I want to add an event listener. Do I want a hidden input? Should we do a hidden input, or should we just add an event listener? I'm going to try add an event listener first. Yeah, when records get added, we're using hashtag even more, and it's like one of the worst symbols because everyone disagrees about the naming. Is it hashtag? Is it octothorpe? Is it pound sign? I don't know. This dot add event listener key press. Do we want key press? This one's going to be difficult. Handle event. Whoops, wrong parentheses. We're going to console log the event for now. I have a feeling we don't want to do a key press, but we'll have a look for now. So nothing's logging, and that's because the key press is bound to this. That's no good. We want this to say owner document. So owner document is the same as document, except for this works cross-realm, and I think this works appropriately in iframes. I don't think actually there's an issue with iframes, but it works cross-realm. You could use document. There's not that much of a difference. It also works across shadow roots as far as I recall. Although I guess document does as well. Cosnull is not a. Yep, I had the squiggly line. I just ignored it. Okay, so we're getting the T. We get Shift T. Maybe this is the right one to do. So if we just did event.key, I guess we're going to want a start and end method as well. I think maybe I'm going to have a start method. And we can say this dot started equals true or something. Started false. And then if not started, return. And then we want to stop. And then in the index HTML, I'm going to make a button start, and I'm going to be super lazy. I'm going to say on click, I'm going to give this an ID of A, and I'm going to say a.start, and none of you can stop me. You're not here, you physically cannot stop me, and this is going to happen. Let's get rid of the tests. We don't need tests where we're going. Okay, so if I refresh and I tap keys, nothing happens. If I click start, we start getting them. Maybe I should have a... Someone stop me. Maybe we should make get started just return this dot started, and then you might wonder why I'm doing this. This is because there isn't a setter, and so you can't set started. It would throw an error, which is cool. Call the bobbies. So we could go even more wild here, right? We can say started a.stop, else a.start. This is just hideous, right? It's still happening. It's not going to change. Cool. We've got a working button. What are we going to do with this now? So we've got the keys. We need a position, I guess. So we should say when you start, this dot position equals 0. And let's make a position. Let's just set it to 0 up here as well, because that will infer that it is a number to TypeScript. But we want to reset it every time we restart. I think this is going to be, so we just want to say this dot text content, this dot text content, this dot position, const character equals, so let's just see. We've got a character and we've got the event key. So if I push start and I type T, I get T and T. Yeah. So if event.key is equal to character, continue. And I'm going to make a private continue method. Continue. We're going to say this position plus equals 1. I guess we want to know, do we want to stop? We want to kind of have some kind of like error scenario, right? Some kind of animation or something. we might need to do some text splitting to style the characters with CSS. Yeah, I was thinking that. I was wondering if, because we have the character one at a time, like maybe what we can do, if we have a slot here and then we just have a P, we can just call it a P. It's going to be the only P in here. Like I was wondering if we I'm trying to think, I'm stuck on a name now, but like thing for now. If we said this dot thing is, should we set a font family to monospace font as well to help with spacing issues? Yeah, why not? Well, I don't, let me finish this thought and then we can think about monospace and styling and stuff. But we wanna say this dot render root query selector P. I guess this is called feedback. That's what I'm going to call it. So feedback is an HTML element. Doesn't need to be anything more. We're probably going to need to cast this because I think what comes back is a node out of query selector. Shush you. What? Cannot declare with a private identifier? Okay. Feedback bang. Go away error. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is not liking this because it says that null could be coming back. But I'm telling it that's not the case. Oh, we have a lint error. We have a ESLint plugin custom elements, or ESLint plugin custom elements configured on this repository. And that prevents you doing DOM traversal in the connected callback because the problem with DOM traversal in the connected callback is that if, maybe I can make this apparent. If I were to say document.createElement div and document.body.appendChild div, this is now connected. The connected callback would have fired, but then I want to append whatever after the fact. So if you instantiated all of your query selectors inside of the connected callback, they would find nothing, and then any code that kind of structured this HTML would append everything inside it. So this is to try and discourage you from using query selector just inside this one lifecycle callback. Ideally, you should use a mutation observer if you're doing query selectors and looking for children, or you should use a getter and just use it just in time. In this case, because we've got a shadow DOM, and we know the shadow DOM contents, we're right here, right? It's just in this same stack. We know exactly what's going on. So we can kind of just tell ESLint to disable this line. And this is going to be custom elements, no something or other. DOM traversal. I need to find out what it is. I'm going to ESLint stap, indeed. Typing test. npm runlint. My diagnostics doesn't actually give me the rule that has been violated here, so I don't know how to disable it unless I pull up the command line. Okay, so I've got the error now. Go away diagnostics. It's this one. No DOM traversal in connected callback. Okay, so we have a p tag. So if we continue, we can say this.feedback.append span. We want to span, and we're going to say the span is document create element. I guess this should be this.owner document create element span. And we can say span.text content equals this.text content this position. Right. Why have we got an error here? Oh, this is possibly null. Let's just set it to an empty string then. We know it's not going to be null, right? But we can just... Or is it the text content that's saying is null? It's the text content that's saying it's null, isn't it? Okay, cool. So if I start... a.start is not a function. Oop. Nope. Uh-oh. Let's try that again. Start. Oh yeah, it might help if I have my... a.start is not a function. Did I mess up? What did I do? Oh, we're not actually compiling because this. Okay, there we go. So if I start typing... Right, cool. So I got a T. I keep pressing T, you can see here. But the next character is H, and so we're not actually progressing. If I push H, and also fat finger the G, E, space. Oh, space does not work. Yeah, space doesn't work. That is a problem. We'll have to figure that out. But we're kind of making progress. So we can style this a little bit as well now. So we can say, like, P span color green. Okay, cool. And then I wonder if we could do color red. And then we have the error case. Error. I guess we're just going to have the same contents pretty much, except for this is going to be del. What isn't it like about? Oh, just this. We need the character here. I think it comes up as space in event.key. We'll have a look in a minute. This is going to be character. This is going to be character. So if I type TQ, reference error, span is not defined. Yep, that is true. Okay, TQ. We got an H. This isn't character, this is event.key. Okay, TQ. Yeah. But then we're going to keep typing Qs, and what I want to do in either case, I want to say this.feedback. I want to remove all of the dels. Now, I'm sure there's a cooler way to do this, but I think... is it... What is the way to do this that is... Can I do this.feedback remove children like this? Yeah, for each el.remove is what I was thinking, but yeah, this is not going to work, is it? Remove children doesn't exist on an HTML element. Do you mean remove child? I think remove children exists, right? Replace children. That's what I was thinking of. Fair enough. Okay, let's do it the other way. So for each e.remove. Okay, so start. Yeah, that's not working. Oh, wait. That is working, but we also need this here. So start. th. Query selector all isn't an array. You're right, Free the Web. However, it does have for each on it. It just happens to implement for each. That's it. It's a node list, and node lists implement for each. So node list prototype for each exists. which is unfortunate because it looks like an array, but it doesn't have map and all the other things that you would expect. It is also an iterable, and I think that there's iterator helpers coming soon, so that might be cool. The one that really gets me is window.location has a replace method, and that's bitten me a few times because so does string. And if you're just duck typing and you're like, this has a replace method, I'll call it, and then suddenly your page gets redirected and you're not having a fun time. That doesn't need an X, does it? That doesn't need a question even. What is going on here? What is this saying? Prefer 4 off instead of 4 each. Okay, yeah, this is another lint roll that we have because 4 each is for exactly these kinds of reasons. 4 each is a bit of a something we like to avoid in the GitHub code base, and so we would do a 4 of usually. But we won't worry about that for now. We're pretty much at time, so I still want to work on this though. I think maybe this is going to be the next session too. We're going to extend this. And we've got to fix the space problem, right? We can't actually complete our typing test. So we have to work on this. Not tomorrow, because that's a Saturday, but Monday. Maybe one of you wants to join me on Monday's session and we can work on it. Actually, I think Monday's already booked, but we're going to keep on working on this at some point, I'm sure. For now, I'll commit this though. What do you all think? How are we doing? Was this fun? I think this was fun. This felt like a more productive session than battling with keyframes. Cool. All right. We got 3 minutes left, but I won't waste your time anymore. We can more WC stuff in this one, less style stuff. Exactly. That's what I was hoping for. Next task is to support mobile swipe typing. That sounds like punishment. That is. I'm not going to do that. That does not sound fun. I think there's like a composition start and a composition end event to do that kind of stuff, but it's hellish. All right, it's been fun. I'll see you all around. Enjoy your weekend. I'll be back Monday doing more of this. Bye for now.